The family that is murdered by the Nigerian army, they are calling for justice. The family of Abdulsamad Jamiu, a serving youth service corps member, has strongly rejected the Nigerian army's explanation for his death and is demanding an independent investigation. The Nigerian army described it as a crossfire, but eyewitnesses revealed that the Nigerian soldiers scaled through the fence and was trying to have access to his room, but they couldn't. They fired some shots which accidentally hit the young man, and he never survived. He died instantly. It's embarrassing. It's a disgrace. Just last week, barely a week or 2 weeks ago, everybody was condemning Nigerian army for killing civilians while they were trying to kill terrorists in a market that is in the border between Borno and Yobe State. They said no, they are terrorists. They are terrorist sympathizers. We all agreed. How about this one? These are video evidences. Now this is what Nigerian army has got to say regarding the incident. They call it a tragic loss, and then they have a lot to say as usual. Tragic loss of NYSC Corps member during armed robbery incident in Dede. Headquarters Gas Brigade regret the tragic loss of Mr. Abdulsamad Jamiu, a serving National Youth Corps member, during a security incident in the early hours of 25th April 2026 at Shagari Estate, Dede, Abuja. The unfortunate incident occurred when troops of the Gas Brigade Quick Response Group on routine night patrol responded to a distress call following an armed robbery attack in the area. Upon arrival, the troops came under gunfire from the fleeing armed robbers, resulting in a brief but intense exchange. In the course of the engagement, Mr. Jamiu was caught in the crossfire. Despite efforts by the troops to secure the area and preserve lives, he sadly succumbed to his injuries. This heartbreaking loss has cast a deep shadow over all personnel of the Gas Brigade. Preliminary information indicates that the situation was fluid and highly volatile as troops worked to repel the attackers and protect residents of the community from harm. So sweet, the commander, Gas Brigade officers and soldiers extend their deepest and most heartfelt condolences to the family of the deceased, the National Youth Service Corps, and all who are affected by this painful loss. We share in their grief and stand in solidarity with them during this moment of profound sorrow. The brigade has since initiated a thorough investigation to fully ascertain the circumstances surrounding the incident. We remain committed to transparency and accountability, and findings will be made available in due course. The remains of the deceased have been respectfully handed over to the appropriate civil authorities and deposited at Kuba General Hospital. Gas Brigade affirms its unwavering commitment to the protection of lives and property within the Federal Capital Territory. We will continue to review our operational procedures to further enhance civilian safety, even as our troops confront criminal elements who threaten the peace of our communities. It is a disgrace. This is a disgrace. Time and time again, Nigerian armies continue to show us that they lack professionalism. Now, this is what the lady who is related to this guy that has now been murdered said. She said on Saturday in the early hours of the morning, this is to counter what the Nigerian army has stated as a crossfire, that they were chasing robbers. These guys, these soldiers, scaled through the fence, got to his door and fired shots. Not that he was outside, not that they did not catch him with any gun, with any rifle. This is, brazen unprofessionalism. On Saturday in the early hours of morning, my cousin brother, who was also my seatmate in senior secondary school, was murdered in his home by 5 officers of the Nigerian army. I was one of the first people to respond to the scene, and everything I am about to state is true. The officers arrived at his residence under the guise of a patrol, claiming they suspected the thief. A thief was in the compound. One of them scaled the fence over a barbed wire to open the gate for the rest. Once inside, they forcefully attempted to gain access to his room. In doing so, they discharged 2 shots, one of which was a headshot that pierced through the door and killed him instantly. Killed the guy instantly. The evidence at the scene was undeniable: 3 bullet holes, 2 on the door, and the killing shot that went through his head to the wall, and blood shattered across the wall. He was 24 years old, a graduate of civil engineering, and full of promise, 3 of his siblings were present in the house that night, sleeping upstairs, and they are live witnesses to what happened. After committing this act, the officers called the police themselves, reporting that they had killed someone they had mistakenly suspected to be a thief. What followed made matters worse. They tampered with the scene by summoning vigilantes who cleaned up the pool of blood. All pictorial evidence is currently in the possession of the police, who have refused to release the statements of the officers involved, only confirming that the soldiers reported the killing as a mistake. You could imagine the horrible cover-up. Because I have got the videos. They said the guy died on the scene. The sibling said his brain, came out of his head and was in one place. The videos we've seen so far, you can't see anything. So they committed the heinous murder, and they cleaned the whole thing up. How did anyone watch the video of what happened at the White House Correspondents' Dinner 2 days ago? A young man that was armed with shotgun and rifle and knives, he tried to get an entrance into the ballroom, but was not successful. The law enforcement agents did not even shoot him. They brought him down and they got him. That the condition that guy was in, if he's in Nigeria, no pieces of him will be left. The kind of unprofessionalism that we have in the Nigerian police, Nigerian army, all the law enforcement agents is alarming. How do you kill somebody that you didn't catch with any? Now they don't have evidence. You went to someone's room and shot him dead, and you're saying that is Nigerian army saying it's a crossfire. Which crossfire? Which crossfire that will kill all of them? What nonsense crossfire? So we are not even safe again. We say, okay, those in Borno, those in the northeast, northwest, they are the one facing insecurity. Even in Abuja here, when you look at the place, I've been to that shagari quarters many times. Now the robber, you got an information. Who they now need to provide the information to us? Those who alerted them that there is an armed robbery incident. If Nigeria is a working system, like say in UK and US, developed country, there will be a thorough investigation as to know who was the person who made the call to tell them that there is an armed robbery incident. Where are the robbers? Whose house was under robbery? And then the person made the call to invite the Nigerian soldiers to. This is just a targeted attack. If you watch the video that's 1 minute 40 something seconds video that's going around, the guy in the background said the witnesses said that the Nigerian soldiers that killed the boy were saying, "We told you we are going to come." So we need to know what's between this guy and the Nigerian soldiers. All this one they are telling us is a crossfire, is an armed robbery incident. This is just cheap lie. Cheap lie. This is how so many Nigerians reacted. You are a disgrace to Nigeria. We run from bandits, and now we are not safe anymore from our protectors. They are not protecting me anyway. The best someone can do is to leave Nigeria. Is a failed country. Nigeria is a failed country. You jumped the fence into a man's compound, broke the door, entered his room, and shot him dead. And you are lying that he died in a crossfire. You are evil. Was he dating an army lady and one general got jealous and needed him killed? You see, this is actually what I had in mind. If you really want to, date any girl or whatever, be careful. Ask her if she has anything to do with soldiers. Police, could be nice. Just make sure that women could, ladies lie a lot these days. This is what I was actually suspecting before I started even making this. This is what I suspected. The guy could cash. If you look at him, maybe the guy has made some money. He's living well, so he must have. I don't know. It's an alleged. I'm not certain, but the way the guy was killed is just like an assassin. They just went in there and assassinated the guy. If you suspect an armed robbery incident, 5 soldiers in one room, at least you guys will be able to surround the compound. Maybe blast the door. Let's say you want to break into the door. You see how you break into a door? Started firing shots directly inside the room, like you are chasing a rat. This is madness. This is complete madness. What happened? We have political psychopaths who always compare Nigeria to US. US people are buying petrol at $100 per 1 gallon. Nigeria is buying it cheaper. Why can't you compare the way they handle insecurity issues with Nigeria? Just yesterday, White House correspondent dinner, a young man called Cole Allen Thomas wielded an ammunition. He was with a shotgun. He was with, I forgot the name of the other one, and with knives. He tried to maneuver the security agents. He tried to run, and this guy fired, according to reports, 8 shots. He fired 8 shots. 8. And despite that, there was an assault, a clear-cut assault that even demanded him to be neutralized. They did not neutralize him. They got him alive. This one, it wasn't a threat anywhere. The guy wasn't a threat. He was just there in his room sleeping. How do you even, some people will be asking, well, she should have opened his door. You don't even know what is happening in Nigeria currently. That bandits, what happened to that Arise TV anchor last year? What happened to the Soma? She was in her apartment. I mean, for you to work with Arise TV, I mean, you have some money. And she rented her apartment in Katampeo, the most sought after place in Abuja. And these guys, criminals, had access to that apartment. So you want him to just open his door because someone is knocking. He wasn't expecting anyone. And then you started firing. Even criminals are even nice. Bandits are criminals are even nice than what the Nigerian soldiers did. You fired in a direct shot to the young man. Now, to even make it worse, you cleared the scene. You cleaned the whole thing up. Call the vigilante people. They cleaned the room, remove all the evidences, everything, and the photos, everything was just covered by them. And that was why the Nigerian soldiers came up brazenly to tell us it was a crossfire. Which crossfire? You are chasing robbers. Where are the robbers? Who called them that there is a robbery incident at Shagari quarters in day here? We are not safe. The more we understand this, the better for all of us. Nigeria is in great turmoil. You don't even know what will happen to you the next day. Here is a young man. Possibly the family is looking up to him. You could imagine, I mean, the first video there, the mother was crying. That she said she used to pray that Nigeria should not happen to her, that she's been praying for her son. Unfortunately, the Nigerian soldier said no, Nigeria must happen to him. Killed him. Cleaned the whole thing up. If you go there, it won't even look like a place a rat was killed. Clean out the blood, but the only thing they could not fix is the hole through which the bullet pierced through the door and pierced through the wall. That was how they got him. How did you enter into someone's compound? An armed robbery attack, a robbery incident, and then the narrative the Nigerian army gave is conflicting to what eyewitnesses saw on ground. You say it's a crossfire. Yeah, it's the crossfire. Those that were around said there is no record of there's no incident of armed robbery attack or whatever, shooting of gun, and you just killed somebody. You killed a young man who just finished the university, and then he's doing his youth service. He just ended his life, and there is no remorse whatsoever. The identity of the soldiers have been hidden. The shooters are not on ground. What they did was just to go and report themselves to the police and deposit his body at Kuba General Hospital. And so what? Nigerian army has failed us. And that's why I continue to say it. Until Nigerian army, Nigerian police, men in the law enforcement agents, go and learn how to work, go and learn this thing from those in US, those in Europe, they will continue to make a fool of themselves before these terrorists that are attacking the country, because terrorists have been killing men in the Nigerian armed forces, and they keep covering up. How many of them can we lose because of unprofessionalism? How much money is budgeted to these guys? What kind of training are they getting? So assuming that this guy now, maybe let's assume that he fired a gun or maybe he has a bullet. So which means they will pull down the whole building. Because we've seen it in Nigeria, how that Nigerian soldiers will go and burn down. They did it in the southeast because maybe they found one unknown gunman killed an army man. They will go and burn the whole village. This is crazy. This is pure madness. So the Nigeria of our dream, the Nigeria of our time is such that when you wake up, you don't know what happens next. You believe in God, you keep praying. And that's what I do every day. You pray for God's protection. You pray for God's mercy. Because as you move out, you don't even know what's happening. Because these guys are unprofessional. You heard that there is a criminal activity. There's an armed robbery incident. And then you went straight to someone's room. And where you went to, I believe is not even where the robbers were attacking. You went and killed somebody. You killed somebody. And then telling us it's a crossfire. This was never a crossfire. This is unprofessionalism. This is a targeted assassination, like some of the commenters suggested. It could be that he's got a girlfriend, he's dragging girlfriend with an army general or army officer, and they needed to eliminate him. They needed to do so. So look at what these guys are saying. Nobody asked the right question. Was those thieves caught, or the army was just spraying everywhere? Where are the face of the thieves that made them go to the area in the first place? Abi the thieves stay ran away? Crossfire indeed. Look at where your men shot from. Did the gunfight happen in the house? Liars. Liars on the pit of hell. Liars. Liars everywhere. Liars. And these guys will not be penalized. They will not be held accountable. And then before the end of, let me just give them a target, because it's not even up to 2 weeks that they kill civilians in a market between Borno and Yobe. And they said that these civilians, they are terrorist sympathizers. We all believed. So now this one that is so clear to the blind, that this is a terrible, terrible assassination. And they call it a mistake. So if you kill the man by mistake, you also should die by mistake. I'm just tired of what is going on in this country.